New York Times. He is our voice of the NBA. He's my friend Chris Broussard is now joining us. So it's been an interesting week where, first of all, do you make anything out of LeBron and Kawhi last night? We'll keep in touch. Do you make anything out of that?
No. Look, these guys have a decent relationship. Remember last summer there were pictures of them playing basketball together.
Yeah.
So it's not like they don't like each other, they hate each other, anything like that. But no, I make nothing out of it. It wasn't like Kawhi said, we'll be in touch. It was LeBron saying we'll be in touch, and they will. Here's the thing with Kawhi Leonard. He has no interest in joining or putting together a super team.
He doesn't.
None. I'm not saying he's, adamant against it, but he's not going to be a part of any discussion. Let's come together and do. I've actually been told, not from him or KD, but people around the league have told me that he and KD, because the Clippers, that's their dream scenario. We talk about Kyrie and KD in New York. The Clippers' dream scenario is KD and Kawhi at Staples Center with the Clippers. I've been told, though, that each of those guys is leery of the narrative that they joined each other. Like, KD doesn't want another narrative of, oh, he went and joined Kawhi. Kawhi doesn't want a narrative of, oh, he went and joined KD. I don't think it has to be that way because they both would be going to the same
team. And they
team,
have
but
different games.
Yeah, they don't want that narrative out there.
You can't join another star and not have that narrative. You are joining good players.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, joining Kawhi or Kyrie is not like joining Golden State after they won 73 games. So I don't think either of them should be worried about that.
Yeah.
So, but that's what some people have told me.
So we had a story this week. Rick Bucher had it. A couple of different people said it. I suggested it about 2 weeks ago. I said, listen, the only asset the Lakers really have is LeBron James. Kyle Kuzma's the deep second asset.
Deep.
Way deep. I mean, he's a 5-starter on a really good team. Boston Celtics, I'm not sure he starts. Warriors, he doesn't start. Houston maybe starts. They have LeBron. But there are stories now that Jeannie Buss was so ticked off at Clutch Sports, Rich Paul, LeBron, that she considered that it was brought up. Does that shock you the story came out?
Well, we both know Rick Bucher. We worked with him at the other place. I've known him for decades. He's a good reporter. And we had Rick on our show yesterday, the Odd Couple, Rob Park and I. And I brought up to, look, this is how I've talked to people involved in this story who've denied it, adamantly said it's not true. I brought that up to Rick. I brought up, why did you kind of bring up that, like, usually that would be the lead, right? Like, the Lakers considered trading LeBron James, and he kind of had it down, 6, 7 paragraphs. But he said because it wasn't, the gist of the story was that LeBron couldn't fetch that much on the market anyway, so that's why he kind of had it lower. But my point is, people are denying it. That's what I've been told, but I don't know whether it's true or not. However, I look, contemplated, I mean, a lot of things have crossed people's minds. I'd hate to tell people what's the things that have crossed my mind. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but it maybe it crossed their mind enough to tell some. Rick told us on our radio show yesterday that it crossed her mind to the point where she asked Magic and Rob Pelinka, does he have a no trade clause? And so that's a little more consideration if that's the case.
How about this? So for the last 15 years, I always felt like there was LeBron and then a bunch of good players underneath him, like Kevin Durant, obviously, Kawhi, Harden. That, think about it this way. As great as Tom Brady is, he just won the Super Bowl. He was almost the MVP 2 years ago. I would absolutely trade Tom Brady for Patrick Mahomes today.
Right.
Without even thinking about it. I would absolutely trade Tom Brady for about 5 young quarterbacks in the league. There are 4 players in basketball in the world right now that I would trade for over LeBron. Giannis, Durant, Steph, and Zion. I would absolutely, listen.
KD probably too.
I put him. Giannis,
you said
Steph,
Durant,
Durant, and Zion. I would trade for them before I would trade for LeBron James. And there's, by the way, I didn't put Harden.
You didn't put Embiid?
I didn't. Embiid's had an injury history. That worries me. And he also doesn't handle the ball. And Harden, I don't think, is always great to play with, although it was really close. Paul George is somebody I considered, but I still have never seen him elevate in the postseason. But my point is here, it is not outrageous. Tom Brady right now is performing in terms of championships at a higher level than LeBron. I would move Tom Brady tomorrow for Patrick Mahomes.
Right. Your point it totally makes sense. And I mean, when the GMs did their poll beginning this year, who you would start your team with, it wasn't LeBron James. I don't remember who it was, but it wasn't LeBron.
I thought he was like 4.
Right, and it won't be like it's just age. Who would have traded for Michael Jordan in his Washington years? You know, he's the greatest ever. So it happens. And here's the other thing about LeBron. Now, LeBron's got more left than Jordan had when he was in Washington. But LeBron, if they did trade him, he ain't going to be happy. And LeBron is a handful even when he wants to be there.
This is a great...
In Cleveland, he was a handful. In L.A., he was a handful, and he wants to be there.
Remember, Kobe at the end, 3 years before he retired, Dwight Howard turned down $30 million. Michael Jordan's teammates couldn't stand him.
Right.
LeBron, Paul George chose Westbrook over him. Kyrie left him. When you get these iconic guys, MJ, Kobe, LeBron, it ain't just the game anymore.
Right.
The last 3 or 4 years, it's the... LeBron brings a lot of suitcases into your house. And you better have space.
You brought up Jordan, and I've talked about it. I was there in Washington covering that team a lot for the New York Times, and they couldn't stand him because and that wasn't in the social media age. If that had been nowadays, it would have been a lot worse. It may have been comparable to this LeBron stuff. And so these guys bring that. But LeBron wants to be in Los Angeles. So if they traded him, say they traded him to New Orleans.
He'd be miserable.
Or Charlotte. He might, I don't know. I have no idea what's in his mind. But he might retire.
I don't think you're...
Rather than play in New Orleans or Charlotte or...
I don't think you're crazy.
And the notion there was brought up in Rick's article by some executive, would Milwaukee try to pair him with Giannis? I wouldn't even think about pairing LeBron with Giannis.
No, that's Giannis.
Their games aren't complementary.
No.
And LeBron, and look, I don't think this is necessarily a knock on LeBron, but he's an icon, and he's still a great player. When he comes in, he takes over.
He sucks the air out of the franchise.
And Milwaukee's got something nice going. They wouldn't think about that.
They're not. By the way, let me just throw this out there. You got a lot of sources. In my lifetime, there have been 4 young athletes I've seen in basketball that were different. Ewing, Shaq, LeBron, and Zion. I'm telling you right now, I have 2 guys, executives in the league. They're like, you have to pick Zion number 1. He is literally going to change shoe deals, TV ratings. He will add $400 to $500 million of net worth to the franchise that gets him. That's the belief in the NBA. If your franchise is worth $3 billion, Zion makes it worth $3.5 billion. Yeah. That's from an executive who deals in that space, operational space.
No, I'm hearing the same things. I haven't talked to one person who has said he's not the definitive number 1 pick. It's not just what you see that's obvious, the athletic ability, the dunking, the excitement. It's also that he loves the game.
Yes.
Usually, how many college kids, especially ones that can score 20-something a night, play defense like that? LeBron didn't, and I'm not saying he's going to be LeBron James, but LeBron was not that type of defender. He just didn't have the interest in it early in his career in Cleveland. This guy defends. This guy's blocking jump shots. He's making steals. Plays with a joy and a love for the game.
He's 18 years old. Look at him. He doesn't even look like
Well, they're going to get that baby fat off of him too. And he's still going to be chiseled and huge, but they're going to get that baby fat off of him, get him with a nutritionist. I even had one scout tell me, not like a lot or permanently, but they were like, he could even play some point. Like, if you have to have him dribble the ball up court or push the ball.
Listen, we all love Giannis.
He can do that.
Giannis wasn't close to this good at that age.
No, but Giannis is 7 feet.
Yeah,
That's the difference.
No, but I'm saying Giannis developed by year 3 into a nice player.
Yeah, I think Giannis averaged 7 points as a
game.
rookie, something like
Jimmy
that.
Butler averaged 2.5. Yeah. I mean, so this kid is...
And what he did last night.
Oh!
And here, Colin, I don't know if I've said this on your show. if the Knicks have the great blessing to get Kyrie, KD, and the number 1 pick, I was saying up to about 2 weeks ago, I was like, you trade that number 1 pick for Anthony Davis.
No way.
Now I wouldn't do it.
Nope.
And not just because of how explosive Zion is. Here's why. Because he can do it off the ball.
Yep.
Like, R.J. Barrett has the ball most of the time. Last night, Zion's floating around through the zone. He's not dribbling the ball. He can give you 20 without dominating the ball. And with Kyrie and KD, that's what you need.
Yep.
He would fit good with those two. So he's special, man. I
love him.
Yeah, and I've had scouts tell me too. Look, the only question is but the jump shot.
Oh, none of these kids can shoot at 17.
Well, right, and that's what people have told me.
LeBron
They said,
couldn't
look,
shoot his first 4 years in the league.
If Jason Kidd could develop a jump shot, he'll be able to develop a jump shot. He is the number 1 pick, no question.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.